In this video, we're going to talk about the Puppet include function. Now, Puppet supports functions just like any other programming language, such as Java or C#. The base development language of Puppet is Ruby. So to do any kind of functions in Puppet, it's helpful to know some Ruby, at least a little bit of Ruby. Now, there's two different types of functions that are supported. They're called statement functions and R-value functions. Now, statement functions kind of stand on their own, and they don't have a return type, so they're kind of like procedures. Now, you use them for performing like a standalone task, like importing other Puppet modules or any kind of manifest programming. Now, on the other hand, we have R-value functions, and they return values, and you can only use an R-value function when a statement requires a value, such as if you're assigning something in a if-else statement, a case statement, or some kind of looping structure. Now, one thing that you have to know about how functions execute in Puppet is functions only execute on the Puppet master, and they don't ever really execute on the client or the Puppet agent, although it might appear that they do so. So they only have access to commands and data that are on the Puppet master or can be accessed by the Puppet master. Now, there are different kinds of functions that are already in core Puppet. Now, generally, you don't need to have permissions to run any of the core Puppet functions, but if you create custom functions, you're probably going to have some kind of elevated privileges to do so. So here I'm going to talk about the include function. Now, the include function is very similar to the include function or statement in any other programming language. Basically, what it's used for is it's used for the declaration of one or more classes and results in evaluating all the resources present inside those classes and then adds them to the catalog. So basically, this is the way it works. The include function accepts a class name, a list of classes, or a comma-separated list of class names. Now, one thing that you have to keep in mind while you're using an include statement is you can use it multiple times within a class, but it has a limitation of including a single class once and only once. So if the included class accepts a parameter or multiple parameters, the include function has to automatically look up the values for them using the syntax of class name, : parameter name as a specific lookup key. Now, if you use the include function, it does not cause a class to be contained in a class when it's declared, basically meaning that if you need to use a contained function, the include function will work just fine. It doesn't even create a dependency in the declared class or any kind of dependency in any of the classes surrounding it. So if you're going to use an include function, make sure that you use the full name of a class because that's the only way that you can declare it. Relative names are not allowed when using the include function. So in this video, you learned a little bit about Puppet functions and how to use the include function.